Is this thing on? Can you hear me? Is anybody out there? Hey, tune in. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the homie Big Hank. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the co-host Big Hank. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. Everybody tune in, you dig it? It's funny as hell, my dude. It's where we can kick it. Everything is going down. They about to do the most. It ain't a confrontation, it's a conversation, homie. Yo, on the weekends, Roy Anthony.
What it do? What it do? What it do? Yes, I am comedian Roy Anthony. Welcome to the Roy Anthony Show. Pleasure being back. This is my birthday weekend start. My birthday is October 23rd, and this is October the 20th. I started my party on Monday. It's a first day Scorpio. Anyway, welcome to the Roy Anthony Show. I'm Roy Anthony. I'm on the platform of the Woe Entertainment, which was created by Richie King, aka Redneck Pimp, and Goose, the co-creator, which was created to bring awareness of how our veterans commit suicide. And what we try to do is the Roy Anthony Show tries to bring out those conversations and just talk and deliberate on all types of things that can ponder in people's heads, that we make it where it's a conversation. It's not a confrontation. And sometimes when we're depressed or something, is that we're not satisfied with what's going on with ourselves, our personal selves, or with our surroundings. And if we don't talk about things or try to hint up on subjects, it goes to naught. Then we want to give a shout out to our social producers. Blue Phoenix, ranked number 9th in the world when it comes to the gamings. We have our good partner Athens. They make sure that everything runs correctly. And then we have our sponsors like Matthew Brooks. And Matthew, we're asking you, check your DMs, man. There's numbers in there. We've been trying to hear from them. And then we have our good neighbors, BB Nation. We have one of their good partners that was in the house. You know, we look at them as fam. Carl Loomis was here Tuesday. We're going to pick back up on the child support part 3 next Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, next Tuesday, as you want to say, October the 20, what would that be, the 25th, because Sunday is the 23rd. I make everything based around that. Christina Carr, what's up? She said, what's going on, Roy Anthony? You got it, Christina. And today is about laughter, man. It seems like we always having drama. But today the subject is about, laughter. I want to bring it to everybody's attention that November the 12th, the Warrior Fest, which is going to be based in Cameron, Missouri, the Warriors Fest. That is where they have 6 comedians and 2 major bands. Yeah, and it's nice because they start early enough, plenty of food, plenty of drinks. And with it being the state of Missouri, you know what comes with that. Vegetation that's legally. But I'm looking forward to kicking it on the stage with Jeff Onyx, Richard Matano, Richie King, aka Redneck Pimp, Tater, and I think it was another brother named David Scott. Don't quote me, but I just know that it's professional comedians. It's only $10 at the door too. That means it's going to be packed because we got people coming from around the United States coming to the show, like the VRS, Veteran Radio Syndicate, and they about 300,000 strong. I don't know if 300,000 is going to show up because Warriors Fest isn't booked at the Coliseum. So it's like first come, first serve. You better get in while you can. They're going to have a 50-50 raffle. And every time they give a raffle out, it does not be cheap. It be nice stuff in it. One time one of them had a package where it was a car was given for real. And you look in the box and it's a set of keys. What's these keys go to? Yeah, your car that's outside. That type of mystery box. And so you get so many points. They be having real car situations, products. I've seen where Goose makes these knives, personalized knives and stuff, and it's real cool. Now, I want to always give a shout out to my co-stars, Cynthia Joy, who just had another death in her family, and she was going through a change of job position, so she'd be popping up. Big Hank always pops up after he's done his work there at the church, and then he shows up. So, and then sometimes if some people don't pop up, we know that some of our guests comes in. Sometimes it'll be my fault and stuff. I probably done sent the wrong link because we've been basing working on the studio, and there's more to stuff. Especially, I've been in the process of buying a house, and it's a trip because buying a house seems to be harder than buying a car, and I just can't get the understanding because um we a car you can drive everywhere. You can drive. I could drive to Mexico. A house, I ain't trying to move it. I don't have no money to have a house. So everything has been working out all right, except for my credit score got to come up, and that's what bugs me the most. I don't know what a credit score has to do with me making a payment on the house or any other thing, but it is what it is. It's an American institution. I don't know if other countries go by credit score. I just know that's something that we do here in America. And so I just said, you know what? We always have enough drama, especially like this past show was the child support situation. That could be so depressing. Seem like right when you take one step forward, you got two steps, you got to go backwards. And then they put you in a game of twist, especially when it deals with incarceration over what they consider irresponsibility. And so America seems to hold a lot of people in prison or send them to prison for most mundane situations when we got, more. I feel like prisons should be mainly for people who has killed people or pedophiles and stuff like that. Um, Drinking and driving unless you have killed someone. How you can have two DUIs. It could become a mandatory 6 months in prison. I thank God I ain't never had a DUI, and so if I'm the type that if I'm driving and I feel like I haven't got tipsy, I'm gonna pull over somebody I know, jump in the back seat, make sure you put your keys in your pocket, and lock the doors, and there it is. you know, but anyway, I said today's show is about humor. Sometimes we concentrate on stuff so much that we forget to laugh. And we know that humor, which creates laughter physically, it cures every ailment in the body. When in the Bible, and you've probably seen it in Reader Digest, they took the phrase from the Holy Bible that laughter is the best medicine. In a scientific form, laughter produces an endorphin out of our brains that cures every disease, sickness, any ailments out of your body, literally. And the scientists has for years have been trying to dissect the brain to reach this particular endorphin, but there's no way to mask it unless you laugh. and you have to laugh wholeheartedly. You ever been laughing so hard that the back of your head and it tightens up and all that? That's around your cerebellum, because what it's doing is that the cerebellum, which is your neutral nervous system, is the main frame of your nervous systems, that sends out throughout your body, which is the base, is your cerebellum. And sometimes when you laugh, and the cerebellum is being triggered because the brain is opening up the endorphins to release into your body. And it is a proven fact. I never get one of the comics that I knew. We used to try to do voluntary comedy for the hospital. And there was this particular guy, it was an older guy, and he was like, they had given him just any minute to die because his body was failing him. Different diseases and everything was taking its toll. Well, the comic comes in there. He says something that really made this man laugh so hard that all his vitals got better and stuff. See, it's easy to get depressed and sad about things. It's easy to get confounded. And sometimes with me, I deal with an elderly mother where sometimes she gets frustrated, and sometimes I'm not helping the matter. Sometimes because some things I feel like it's a little bit too mundane to be concentrated on. But then sometimes I, like we should do with anybody else, I put uh, my feet in her shoes, not literally, but to see how she's seeing things. And our world is constantly changing, and it can be scary to some of our elders and our kids. We have a suicide rate of teenagers committing suicide 22 a month. Here recently, we had a young man I came aware of. He was 19, been had an honorable discharge coming from the military, but apparently he wasn't ready for this particular life. Now I don't can't speculate on it. It's just that sometimes it's alarming when our teenagers is scared of the future or the present days to face the future, and sometimes there's this spirit that puts into our heads is better on the other side. So sometimes it could be hard to try to find humor, especially if you're coming home, your lights is off, or your there's no food. Sometimes it can feel like everything is just totally going bad. And I remember there was times when it was like everything went bad for me, everything. And I found myself just laughing at myself and stuff because I was like, what more can I do? What more can I take? You know, and sometimes when I start putting myself and seeing other people and how they go through, sometimes I found that my problems wasn't just as bad. You know, I pride myself of being a comedian, and sometimes people think that being comedians, we got it easy, like nothing affects us. Well, it does. That's why we tell jokes. That's why I try to make other people laugh. It's a gift in me to make you laugh. I pride myself. There's not a person I haven't met that I didn't get them to laugh or smile in some particular way. It's not even on the stage. You know, it's easy to make someone mad. Have you ever noticed that? I seen guys looking at each other wrong. Like, what you looking at? What you looking at? And we don't find humor. Sometimes you go, well, you got to find humor in this life, especially if you like me. I believe in a spiritual God. I believe that God is a spirit, and they that worship Him must worship Him in spirit and in truth. CEO to our head producer, I was just telling them about November the 12th, the Warriors Fest. You know, but I believe in God. Now I don't press my beliefs on other people. You know, because we are giving a choice. You got a choice to be sad. You got a choice to be happy. You have a choice to be mad. You got a choice to be joyful. It seems like we spend almost 80% of our talking within a 24-hour span on drama, and instead of trying to uplift. And I'm a person of that too. Sometimes I'm not. I've done have people like, why are you looking so serious or being so serious? Aren't you a comedian? It's just that I'm a human as well. You know, um, everything isn't fun and jokes, but I do try to find humor out of it. I never get. I had uh, when I was in 11th grade, one of my good friends um, was diagnosed with leukemia, and doing the chemotherapy he was going through was making his hair real thin, and he was 13, and so no one, we, especially myself, I was always known to bag. We called it roasting each other. We used to call it bagging or crowing, and we used to tease all the time until he was diagnosed with leukemia, and then the chemotherapy was making his hair real thin. And one day, he came around, was all the fellas, and it was like, we was like, hey, what's up, bro? What's up? And he said, man, Roy, why you don't tease with me no more? And I said, well, man, how can you, laugh at you when you're going through this cancer situation? And he said, man, Roy, man, that's what makes my day, of knowing that you don't see me no different. You laugh with me. He said, I deal with this every day, bro. And man, it just makes me feel better if y'all treat me like I'm the same way. So, when he got done, I said, well, okay, you old coconut head. And man, I never get, we laughed so hard, you know, to where he passed away 4 days later, to where, of course we cried, but I never get me and him laughing so hard of when I said, "Oh, coconut head," and it made his day. And his mother thanked me because he went home and laughed. And when he passed away, she said that he was happy. Sometimes we can have a sense of humor, but it's sometimes may not. The timing is off. As a stand-up comedian, we pride ourselves on timing. You know, um, that was something I had to work on when I was first getting in. I'd be telling a joke, people start laughing, but I'm still going into my wording. You gotta kind of pause so the people can, get their laughter out. Then you hit them with the next piece and the next piece. And so, um, Richie always say, you don't have to apologize for funny. Now, sometimes as a comedian, you have to recognize your crowd. There was this one time, I was working at the Queen Mary. The Cancer Society had asked the Queen Mary to provide 3 comics for this big show that they wanted. And it was packed like 400 people. And the one comic, this one comic came to me in the back. He said, hey, man, I don't know what I should say, man. Stuff, should I talk about when I gave up cigarettes and all that? Because and I'm looking at him like, you know, dude, you got to do what you feel. I'm not a person to direct a comedian on what to say or what not to say. I know to recognize your crowd, but it's not for me to teach him. He's looked at as a professional comedian. So, he gets up there and tries to do the cigarette thing. And apparently it did not work. I never get him getting off the stage. Man, his face was longer than I-70 highway, boy. And so when they brought me up, they was like, okay, they was like, Okay, we brought this next comedian. Now, my mind was not to bring up anything that was going to be discerning, disheartening to anybody, And so, what we did was we came up. When I went up, I did a, I did a set, and this I'm about to show a comedy joke that one of my most popular jokes that is loved by a lot of, especially of all races. I've been every time I've done it, go do a show, it's been requested to see me do this particular joke live about me riding a horse. and and when I wrote this joke, I did not know that this joke would carry me so far to where we're in Compton and Watts, and they be like, man, I love when you do that horseback riding joke. And I was like, okay, because I did it when I wrote the joke, is that I was working at the Queen Mary, and the Queen Mary was always based on diversity. It wasn't black crowds, it wasn't white crowds, it wasn't Latino crowds. So my grandmother, before she had passed, had told me, because I used to be real raunchy. I'm gonna let everyone know I was raw with it. I used to work with Cat Williams back in the days, before he was a national known treasure, because Los Angeles and probably United States, but Los Angeles, based around the Hollywood, has a lot of hidden treasures. And Cat Williams was one of the ones I got to work with him. He really didn't like me that much, as far as on a personal side, but he still always had me come up on the shows and stuff because I appealed to the audience. But I learned a lot from him. I would watch him. I would watch his performances. He don't even know, when I would go to the Comedy Store and he would be down there, and I get to go. I'd be in the green room, but I come to the side and I would watch his energy and his delivery and the confidence. And at the time, he used to be called Cat in the Hat, and he was in the movie Friday After Next, if I'm not mistaken. And I just really admired his skills. Now I worked with a lot of different comics as far as passing through a stage or anything, but one of the things that I was known for is, like, I love telling a storyline. I liked mixing reality with fantasy, if it makes sense, because I share a secret that some of the things I've talked about has been, I experienced it, or somebody else I know, because it's not just me who writes my materials. I have 3 or 4 good friends of mine that we come up with jokes, and they be like, hey, and we really push about how delivery should be, stuff like this. So I can't just take credit for this particular joke, but I want to go on and show this is one of the ones that's one of the most requested jokes of mine. So I want to share this with everyone. This is me at the Queen Mary when I first got on the Queen Mary, and I'm going to play this for you right quick.
Never seen a horse before in my life. From the ghetto. And then she arranged for us to go horseback riding. But I committed. You fellas, you know how we commit, like playing basketball. You going for a layup. You know your shot's about to get blocked, but you committed. I knew it was messed up because we was headed out to the Foothill Ranch, and she stopped at Jack in the Box to get a breakfast burrito. Well, eggs and tomato paste don't go well with me. She's like, how you like the burrito? I said, oh, it's good. So we get out of here to the Foothill Ranch, and they bring out her horse. He was all elegant and nice. They bring my horse out. He was like Donkey from Shrek. I was like, yeah, cool. You know what I'm saying? But she was like, I know you're not going to ride that, Roy. No, take this back. Bring me back a horse. They must have gave him a potion because they brought him out of thoroughbreds, He was flexing his muscles and he was intimidating me. And I've dealt with ferocious animals, don't get me wrong. I've dealt with pit bulls and Rottweilers. I tell them to sit, they sit. But this horse was scaring me, boy. I was more nervous than a gay man in church. Because you don't look at a horse in both his eyes. You look at that horse from that one side, and it's just that cyclops of feeling, you know? I see my whole body in that one eye. So my day jumped on her horse all nicely. It took me 15 minutes to get up on my horse. Because I had my foot on the stirrup, but he kept backing up like he was laughing at me with that eye. So the cowhand secretly put me on. I was like, all right. So we went moseling on, you know. Moseling is a cowboy term. That means going on about your business. So I'm moseling on, you know. I started wondering is how do cowboys ride horses across the United States? Because I hadn't gone 200 yards before my ass got sores all over. I mean, my rear was raw. So I started leaning over my horse like I was riding sea biscuits. It's a beautiful day. Well, I shouldn't have did that. Because the saddle has this thing that sticks up in the front. It was pressed up against my stomach. And with that jogging along and that jack in the box, I felt like I had to pass gas. But I sparked. You ever spark? That's just embarrassing stuff right there, man. Because that's when you think you're letting out some air, but you feel some liquefaction. Your grippers will act like emergency brakes, man. My grippers were like, you be insecure the rest of the day, don't you? Because you be checking it. You be letting it out a little bit at a time. Because if you feel any weakness, you be like, oh, I'm sick. I ain't feeling good. I must got a fever. I shouldn't be doing this. This ain't normal. All of a sudden, my dating horse took off running real fast. My horse took suit. I was like, wait a minute, I didn't say giddy up or none of that. So my grippers was already on overload. And with all this going real fast, I'm screaming, hold up. So she started saying, what's wrong? I said, I gotta use it. Now believe me, I'm not gonna tell her what I gotta do. It was a good thing I had a couple of them Jack in the Box napkins in my pocket. So I'm gonna get off my horse the same way I got on. So I'm swinging my leg around, and the horse must have turned around and smelled some spark. Man, that joker went crazy. He prayed up, took off running. I'm like, oh! And I lost a hold of the rein, and he dragged me like 200 yards over rocks and sticks, like a cowboy movie. My foot finally came out. I was just laying there, and my date run over. She said, "Boy, are you all right?" That's when I got truthful with it. I'm like, hell no, I'm not all right. I done snatched a hole in my afro. My back is cut up. I got diarrhea all on me. And I don't ride horses. If it takes a ride a horse to be with you, then I'm gonna be a lonely ghetto individual.
Oh man. And so when I do my stand-up, I work on what's real. Now, that was a comedy stint that I was working from the Queen Mary as one of their headliners from 2009 2005 to 2009. And I didn't realize how popular I got, especially in other countries, because the Queen Mary is owned by the UK and tourists from all over the world, and they would have me as one of the main attractions as a comic. And that particular show was where it was 400 people representing the Cancer Society, and I was like, okay, okay, and as a comic knows, once you get past that first 15 seconds, because Hollywood tells you to have people laughing within the first 30 seconds. I kind of shortened it to where 15 seconds, as far as just getting, getting the crowd's attention. So I've always been called a captivator because I captivate the audience. Now, sometimes as a comedian, it might be just two or three people. And two or three people is the hardest thing as a comic, because when you have a bigger crowd, the bigger crowd makes the laughter, because laughter is contagious. If one person laughs, it makes another person laugh. Sometimes the challenging for a comedian is if there's only two or three people. And I was told that because in Hollywood, when you're auditioning, even as a stand-up comedian, they probably have two or three people in the room. Last Comic Standing hound me forever in 2009. I think it was 2009. They hounded me forever. Wanted me to come to New York, then wanted me to come to Houston, and they wasn't fronting the bill. So then they was like, well, what city are you close to? They asked me to come to Tempe, Arizona. And I didn't have to wait in the long lines that I seen people do. I had a special invite by NBC. And when I go up in there to do the audition, I'm in front of three other comedians and one big camera guy working for NBC. I done filled out almost an inch thick of contracts, and it told me you are not going to be selected. They already had who they want, but they put me on special notice because I've actually worked with some of the comics that won, like April Macy, and I've knew some of the other comics from there. But I've just never been a person who likes to name drop companies that I have worked with. I'm just keeping it 100. Sometimes I like working with the type that, let's say, if it's big. Now, I challenging to me because I love working with uh, blacks, whites, Latinos. I've done every type of show. Only show I haven't did was for I think it was Asians. I've never done worked with an Asian show. But one of the things though that I pride is that I challenge myself. Sometimes a comic has where they already have planned materials. Me, I've always worked off of three scenarios. I have planned, improv, and bagging. That's my set. If I go on a set, when I do a set, you will never know what is planned, what's improv. Now, the roasting part is when I tease with someone in the audience, is something that I typically like to do sometimes. It's because it makes it a little bit interesting, especially when you messing with the audience. And so there's this one episode that someone had asked me about, could I show the one where I was teasing with the audience members? And so I said, you know what, I could bring that up. But I want to tell people, especially there, we got some people wants to perform. Hold up, we got Miss Leonie. What's up, Miss Leonie Waits? Her tag now says franchise beauty, Franzine beauty, if I'm saying that correct. How you doing, Sugar?
Good, I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. And so just sharing about the comedy exploits and it's being a comedian. And so I want to give her a shout out. Let me tell y'all something. Miss Leonie Wade, as you can see, she is so professional. She's been, since I've known her since 2008, she has been a professional, had a beauty, she does the beauty salons, and she's one of the top insurance people. If I'm wrong, just stop me. But a lot of people don't know is Leonie used to be a stand-up comedian. She used to be on the show with me, right? I'm not gonna. She may not want me to describe the one joke she was popular for, but she have all the men in the audience. We be sweating. She said I was laughing, and boy, the guys, I myself was wondering. I'm not gonna bring up the particular joke because how long has it been since you've been doing stand-up, Leon?
Oh, it's been, wow, at least what, 10, 15 years maybe?
2009. It's almost 2019. That's 13, 14 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, time go by, don't it?
I know.
And like I've told other people, he only was one of the ones who helped support. I could share stories. This one particular story of a known comic, and Leonie had to save the day a couple of times. And what she saved, it wasn't that she saved the day to spring it out. It saved for me. I had to go to jail because I was ready to put hands on some folks for real. One time we had our own show going on. Leonie is like she's the peacemaker of the show. And I was up on the stage. I was doing my beginning monologues before we brought the other comics on the MC. And this one particular comic walks in and just disrupt the show. I'm the headliner. I'm the headliner. And I said, hey, bro, we're going to talk about this when I get off here. Let me bring up this next comic, then I'm going to talk with you. And this particular brother was going around to other comic shows, and they called themselves pirating the shows. And they would actually go into other comic shows and literally punk the people and make them do the headliner and all that. But not when he came over to our show. So I'm in the back while the other comic, I just brought a comic up. I went to the back and I'm talking to dude like, hey man, you coming up on in here and bringing all this disrespect and all that. And there was this guy that was standing beside him, kept saying, who he is, and he got scared when I turned my attention to him. Yeah, I know who he is. Who is you? Who do you think you can keep talking to? And then my partner's standing up, like, so now they got to figure out how they're going to leave up out of here without getting some hands put on. That's where I went with it. Forget all the ambassador stuff is out the door. This is a confrontation. Forget the conversation. Leonie came in and she stepped in, and I was like, okay. And then the one where I'm not going to even bring, you notice I don't name drop. There's another comic. He's very well known. And he had a friend who called himself being a promoter, and they talked to me about letting him be a guest appearance on our show. And it was told that this guy who asked this particular comic to be on our show was going to pay this particular comic to be on our show. Now, me and a band that I was working with came up with a routine we was going to do. But this particular comic, you've seen him on TV and everything. Not only does he goes past his time of 20 minutes, he's on there for 45 minutes, so disrespectful that when I came up on the side to tell him, hey man, he flags me off. Like now, he like, yeah, I'm whoop de whoop de whoop. Boy. Because it's about to be all on the news. Whoop de whoop de whoop, then got his butt whoop de whoop de whoop served to him. And so Leonie, to be peaceful, applied, and they did it while unaware, and Miss Leonie, who she carries the weight of, she's the head of her household. She got her daughter and her grandkids, and other people who work for her, she stays on top of it. But so they came to her for this particular comic's money. And when I found that he gave it to her, I went out there to the dude. He hurried up and ran this particular comic, ran to his car and got in that. And I'm lying. You stopped me,
Nope.
Leone. I was
Nope.
about to jump on the promoter and stuff. And Leone, Lassie and them had to grab me. I ran out there. I was going to put a beat down on this particular comedian. He could go and tell everybody from that particular show what happened to him. But you know, and see, sometimes as a stand-up comedian, and Leone, as your profession, sometimes people can take you for granted.
Mm-hmm.
They take you for granted because they think that as comedians that we're Mr. or Mrs. Nice Guy.
Yeah.
Or nice person, say it like that. To where um now one of the funny things to me, Leone, when you used to do comedy, people knew you was doing comedy or like you do insurance. I would be in the airport, right? And I'd be into my own zone, got my headphones on. And I never get, it was this one couple, older white couple. They was tapping me. He's like, we know you. We know you. And stuff. You an entertainer, aren't you? And I said, yes, I'm Roy Anthony, kind of admired that they recognized me and all these people. And then the first thing they say is, do you know Dave Chappelle? I was like, no, I don't know Dave Chappelle. Well, he's funny to us. Okay, thank you. Yeah, he's a humorous guy. You sure you don't know Dave Chappelle? Now it turns in because he probably can help you a lot. Wait a minute. That's what they said.
Oh.
Now I'm feeling assaulted
Right.
because you got my attention to recognize that I'm a comedian. Are you saying that my comedy isn't strong enough that I need to listen to Dave Chappelle? And the lady said, no, we just saying that he's funny and we should see you up there just like him. No, I got a flyer here. You can come see me at this show. Have you ever been through that where somebody is comparing you or something? You've been through that?
Yeah,
scenario?
but they literally look at me and say, are you Whitney Houston? I'm like, no, I don't even look like her. So many people say I look like her and I don't,
Yeah.
So it was that they were always approaching me as being someone else and just not who I am. So yeah, I got that a lot.
Let me tell you something. I'm a most embarrassing thing. Two things. I was in the Crystal Park Casino in Compton.
Uh-huh.
And a bunch of Asians was getting off this bus. And I happened to come outside. And next thing you know, they rush up to me taking pictures. So I'm like, what the world's going on?
You were
they
smart.
taking pictures. And smart. No. The dude kept trying to tell him he's not Kobe Bryant. literally. It's because I'm 6 even. Kobe 6'6" at the time. Rest in heaven. But they was taking. I mean, for real. I come outside the Hill Square, and these people just came up. Oh my God! And I'm like, hey, what's going on, right? And the dude's like, they think you're Kobe Bryant. And I tell them that I'm not. I'm gonna tell you, though, the most embarrassing situations. I know you know where the Rosa Parks station is, the blue line where it meets the green line station, which is in Imperial Highway. Anybody who's understanding, this is where Long Beach meets Compton, and they have the train stations where you can take the blue line that takes you on into downtown, or you can jump on the green line at the same station, which takes you to the airport. So this particular day, I decided, I just had my head completely shaved. I decided to wear a bandana.
Mm-hmm.
Rolled it up and tied it with my hat. Literally the truth. I get to the Rosa Parks station. I hear some people screaming, Tupac. So I'm looking around too, that I want to see Tupac because he was known for making public appearances in some of the most precarious areas. This is the
Right.
truth. I this was in 97.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing this lady scream, Tupac. So I see a crowd running towards the platform. Literally a crowd, almost
Oh
50
wow.
to 100 people. So I'm looking like, where is he? They running towards the platform, but I just see two Latino guys in the Eastern Indian lady, because she had on all her guards. We on the platform, but I see all these people rushing, and I'm looking for where is he? The people run up and just was grabbing on me.
Oh
Tupac.
my.
And I'm saying I'm not Tupac. My name is Roy. I mean, look,
Yes, you
look,
are.
I lie to you not. It was so bad that the police had to come and give me a ride to the next bus station and told me to take the bandana off my head. I mean, I ain't even thinking. I had put it to the ties
Right.
with my hat cocked. And these people, one lady screamed out Tupac, and all these people
And I
rushed
can see
out.
that though. I can see it. You look like him. You
No,
do
no,
favor
no.
him. Yes, you do. Now, the
Well,
only
so
time that I did not identify that I was somebody famous, I was at a restaurant and they came back, oh, no, your money's no good. You're good here. And I'm like, okay. Because, I wasn't who they thought I was, but I mean, Whitney
they thought you was
Houston.
Whitney at this time.
No, the last time I wore my hair, I think they thought I was Holly Berry at one point. Of course, that was
Mm.
years ago and before the cellulite kicked in. But yeah.
Oh, for real. Hey, look, mention Holly Berry. One time I went to a Hollywood function and I seen Holly Berry, and I've always prided myself I can talk to any woman, right? And so I seen she was in the kitchen. And I was going to walk up and say, "Hey, what's up with you, Holly?" This big old black dude, her security guard, was like, "Hey, where you going?" He had his whole hand was over my chest. "Hey, where you?" I said, "I was just going to speak to Holly Berry." "No, no, no, you're not."
No, you're not.
And she's standing there just eating some stuff, right? She wouldn't even look my way. And I was
He
trying to
said
be
no.
like, get on in the scene. And and the reason why we like today's show, I want to talk about humor and comedy because the reasons when you got up on the stage, which you kind of had that fire, because to me comedy is my therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I get up on the stage and there was times I just ranted and people was loving that because this society done got on my nerves. And you never use stand-up as therapy?
Oh, well, yes. Yes. And that's probably why I was hanging out with you guys so late. Because yes, I would get home and just think about all you guys' jokes and even the ones that the ladies were saying, you could throw a little bit of curse words in your joke, to make it more funny. I said, no, I think it's funny enough.
Yeah.
But it was definitely therapeutic.
Now, what gets me, Leonie, is that everybody knows me that when I ran my stages, my audience has always been blacks, whites, and Latinos. I pride myself on diverse crowds.
Mm-hmm.
It's not saying that I can't just because I've had comics see. I never get one of the comics. I don't like to name drop on people, but anything I'm saying is factual. I could, and so, but one of the comics came when we was at the Blue Cafe in downtown Long Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Kept he seen the crowd was diverse, and he put me. He said, "Hey man, I ain't never rocked with no white crowd." That's what he
Wow.
told me. But turned around, I thought that was weird. And then this one white comic came the next show we had, and it was like, "Hey man, I ain't did a black crowd before." And
Oh.
I mean, I've been through this. And I don't have no problems with sharing my stage.
Right.
Well, there was a comic, and I'm gonna drop his name, Richard Weiss. Richard Weiss was this tall white guy. Um, if you never paid attention to people like Bob Newhart, because I'm a connoisseur of stand-up comedy. It's not
Mm-hmm.
just the black comics. I listen to the white comics. There's Richard Shamel. I loved him. Rest in
Mm-hmm.
peace. Um, I love my man. What was the other guy? He passed away. His name's right at the tip of my tongue. He what's the comedian that he used to say stuff like, my apartment is infested with koala bears. And so every
Well,
time I
I don't
turn my
know.
lights,
Pull your tongue out so I can see it because you said it's on the tip of your tongue.
yeah,
So
I
I
know.
don't
See,
know.
look. But I used to catch a lot of flack about Richard Weiss
Wow.
because Richard Weiss had that type of dry Bob Newhart type style of comedy. Like
Right.
if you watch the show Frasier, I like Frasier. The
Right.
show Frasier has me laugh. Some people will be like, I don't understand it, but it would make me laugh.
Right.
Well, one time, all the brothers came around me and said, "Why do you always put this comic up on the stage, man? He's kind of corny." I said, "I don't find him corny. I think that his comedy is just highly intellectual. You may not understand it. Not saying you're a dummy, but his comedy, I I understand him.
Right.
Well, to this day, anybody who look at comics, the comic strips in the newspaper, you've seen a comic strip called Wisecracks.
Mm-hmm.
That's Richard Weiss. Richard
Ah.
Weiss became, I remember when he was starting to get in the cartoon kit and his jokes, he's used the same jokes because his it's a one slide on Wisecracks.
Mm-hmm.
It's one frame, and it make you laugh just from the one frame because of the stuff he said. Well, those are the same jokes that Richard Weiss was saying on the stage. And when I talked to him, I said, "Man, I heard you up there balling." He said, "Yeah, bro, it's a good time." He was already wealthy. His family's wealthy from upstate New York, but he lives out there in
Right.
Newport Beach now, and he is
Mm-hmm.
very wealthy from the Wisecrack. Sometimes I tell people, and if you notice, there's comedy everywhere. Um, I'm before I go back and farther, I want to say thank you to Leonie. She got on her tag as Francine Beauty, but Leonie has reached out and had me involved with, even with the insurance, deeply so, um, to the point that I want to tell you while I got you on the screen. The biggest word that you helped me really, and I'm noticing this is a word that's helping a lot of the men that I've been talking to. No one talks to us, especially some minorities like myself, a black man, about
Mm-hmm.
leaving a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
That phrase right there, she had my full attention. Because why do I do stand-up comedy and stuff? Why is it on YouTube? So when I pass away, it's still part of my legacy.
Mm-hmm.
But in a personal sense, I wasn't leaving nobody nothing except my YouTube. And anytime somebody calls, Leonie's phone is going to go off sometimes. Somebody made a call to her. And it takes a person who can relate to you to sometimes reach out to you. I've been known to make monies, but I've never had my money to work for me the way I needed to. Ever since I've been going through my budgeting, I find myself now being a little bit more stricter on myself. And I'm saying this because we're going to bring up on one of our shows. I want to dedicate one of our shows probably for the next Thursday show. If we can do that, I haven't wanted to do it yet until I had to complete green light from Leonie that I want to do one of my full shows again about leaving a legacy. with dealing with the insurance. Can we do that?
Okay, I lost you for a minute.
Oh, okay. I was saying that I want to dedicate one of my shows again, like probably next Thursday. I want to do another episode fully on about leaving a legacy with the insurance. Can we do that?
Yes, yeah, we can do that.
I was going to
Sure.
have a number. I would have my number or an email where I would like
Hmm.
some people, because some people have reached out to me, but I didn't have the information to leave them. I really do not put my personal cell phone number up on anything no more, because one time I put my
Hmm.
personal number on a comedy show and people was calling me. I was getting so many calls and hang ups and stuff, right? Um,
Oh,
I said I would never put my number back on the flyer again. Matter of fact, I changed my number way back then just because it was just, some people will call me and say, "Are you still gonna do another comedy show?" I'm like, man, that was an old flyer. But I didn't want to put a number up, but I'm gonna put a number up,
hmm.
and an email address
Well, what
that
I
if
will do,
yes,
I can get you like a private number that we have, and then they can call that number, and then it's also they can leave messages, they can leave emails and everything right there, and then you and I
yes,
will be the only ones can see it.
yeah.
Okay,
And
so
she
I'll
got
get
me.
that to you.
Yeah, I was gonna say she got me involved with this show. I'm deep into it too and stuff. I've been going to classes at 11, 12. And what made me know that it's really serious when I seen a bunch of Asian people in. You know, Asian folks got that money. They ain't gonna be
Oh
sitting there
yes.
and wait. Have you ever seen Asians in a line for anything? They ain't wasting no time on no BS. When I saw all them Asian peoples, I was like, yep, I'm in the right spot and stuff for real. And and I've been learning. I've learned a lot. So
Good.
if I can learn, I sure want other people to know, and about leaving a legacy, leaving, because
Mhm.
we never know where death is. I've been on the
Right.
cusp of death a few times. Um, Probably a lot of people don't really know is that in May of 2001, I was on my way to a comedy show, me and my DJ, and
Mhm.
they was having a serial shooter on the freeways, and I ended up being one of his victims. They shot us with a
Wow.
sawed-off shotgun and uh, point blank range, and it missed me, but hit my. Well, it didn't miss me. I didn't know I was shot until I got to the hospital. My thing was I didn't pull over or nothing like that, because when I went
Wow.
to stop, it looked like they was going to stop, and at this time, all the years prior, I always kept a 9mm under my
Mm.
steering column. And at this January the 1st of 2001, I had stated I wasn't going to carry a weapon no more. And now I'm reaching for it like, hey, these guys are shooting at me. And my
Oh.
DJ took 4 in the face. They had
Oh.
took a
Wow.
sawed-off shotgun and filled it up with 44 mags and everything like that. And when we got to the hospital, I kept seeing these little black dots things, and every time
Mhm.
I go to focus on them, I was falling over sideways, and found out I had 6 bullet holes in my back. How they shot me in
Oh
the back,
wow.
I don't know. And they was able to remove 4, the 2 they
Mm.
can't mess with. And at that time, there wasn't nothing funny.
Mm-mm.
You would think it was nothing funny,
No.
but there was something funny that happened. I'll never share this. While I'm driving us to the emergency, my DJ is screaming out, his face is just
Mhm.
bleeding. And
Mhm.
I turned into the wrong parking lot instead of going into the emergency hospital parking lot, I turned into the bank parking lot by accident.
Oh.
And he's falling out the car screaming, I've been shot. And I looked, I said, oh, hey, bro, we're not the hospital. It's the next one over. And he went, oh, for real? So he got back in the car.
You know what? Y'all silly. Silly.
Look, literally, I'm honking the
Silly.
horn. He's falling out the car. I've been shot. And I looked, I said, oh, because it was the ATM machines. I said, oh man. So I said, hey, bro. And he looked up from me with blood all in his face. I said, we at the wrong parking lot. He said, oh, for real? I literally, we both back in the car, like, do. I went out the parking lot and had to go turn to the next parking lot. And then it was like honking horns. And, ah!
Wow.
And I mean, let me tell you, if we don't laugh at stuff, and I was telling people it's an endorphin. If you can't sit back with someone and laugh. Now, usually if Big Hank hasn't came in, it's because he's helping something major, and he always tells me excuse. Cynthia Joy just lost her uncle right before the night before the show Tuesday. And she's
Monday.
gonna have yes, Monday evening she had lost her uncle, and she's trying to she's going through a discrimination with her job because her job, she suffered from a stroke, and the job is was giving her a hard time. That's something else, sometimes those who's been hurt is discriminated against from companies because for some uncanny reason they think that a person can't get the job done. And so we've been working on her, pray for her and stuff like that. So sometimes when the show, I just make sure that the show goes on and stuff. Then sometimes if I don't send them the link, like, where's the link? And we're building up our studio in LA. It's just that there's so much that we have to put into order right now. Like everyone knows, I've been going through back and forth trying to buy a house.
See, this is why we have to have like you.
You're breaking up a little bit. You was breaking up, Leonie. Say it again.
Yeah.
No, Leonie, can you hear me? Leonie, you're breaking up. Can you hear me? She can't hear me. She was just saying, yeah. Can you hear me? She can't hear me, y'all. Can you hear me, Leonie? Leonie's driving somewhere.
Yeah, probably because where I'm sitting, I'm trying to stay. Can
you hear me? You're freezing up sometimes. So while she's adjusting that, someone had asked me about what I feel about. Huh?
Yes,
you're going back and forth. Oh, you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. This is how you was looking just now. You froze now and stuff. And it's a trip is that everyone, we come around the whole world. We have people listening from Australia, from Africa, literally. I was going to put up our census because it's not just under my platform, the Woe Entertainment, which is world entertainment. We have military bases around. Yes, I hear you perfectly. Oh, your face stuck. It kills me when people's faces stick. Your face is stuck, and you was like this. your face is sticking by each frame. You should see it. Wait till you see the replays. I always show the replay. Hey, while she's doing that, I want to break this in one more time. This is Roy Anthony bagging. I'm about to do a show where we're bagging with some of the members, and I'm gonna put this on while Miss Leonie is working with her freeze frame.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Your frame done froze up so many times, right? And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna play this one particular segment. People ask me, do I tease the people bad in the audience? And I'm gonna share this one with them.
See, my comedy's for everybody. I had people laugh. This black guy sitting VIP. I was like, we're moving on up. He scared me. That's a damn shame. I thought it was my shadow. I'm like, I didn't move that way. He went that way. I'm like, oh shit. Oh, it's another black guy. I was like, okay. For real, I thought my shadow went gray. It's like, yeah, that was my shadow the whole time. That's why I kept stepping over here like my shadow's getting all the attention. My shadow wearing a diamond necklace. I don't got shit.
Hey, this is a true situation. I asked for a roll of tissue.
Oh, you got the light, yeah, he came out. Oh, he took me to me. You wild for that. I can't mess with you no more. He scared the hell out of me. I'm a terrorist. Oh, it's toilet paper. Would have hurt myself diving over that shit. You don't know about that. I thought he was throwing the bomb on shit. He looked like a chemist. I could have been making some shit. Got some Ajax, take a little down. Throw that shit up here. I'm like, I'm ready. Look at him, sir. He's a funny comic. Oh, I'm dying at this motherfucker. That's what people are doing from the ghetto, you know. And I like to help those who don't know. So one more round of applause. I'll give you a chance. How many people from the ghetto? Big class. I'm gonna do the 8 miles on you. Notice that man didn't say it too loud there. Notice this man didn't have his hand up. How many people from the 913? Notice this man didn't have his hand up. He said, I ain't gonna lie, I'm 75. Fishing at Perry Bay. I got my cap here. When I leave here, I'm gonna go deal some worms, and we're going out there to the 75. His cousin like, oh my God, I ain't gonna let him live this down, Leroy. I'm just teasing with you. What's his name, man? John? Okay, John. John got the handlebar mustaches and said, hey! The motherfucking tractor won't go 10 miles per hour. He looked at like, damn, I blew that motherfucker to the club. He like Richard Pryor, 2012. I had it all the way to Kansas City on a tractor. What kind of gas?
Man, I just
Hilarious.
Man, I just and you know what's the trip is that I pride ourselves on what we do. My mother and her friends, you know, I've always thanked. Now, a lot of people don't know. I want to share this tidbit with a lot of people before we start channeling off. When I first got into stand-up, I was real raunchy with it. I mean, I was real raunchy. And I didn't, you know, have no support from family, just support from the homies in the hood. So I was just telling it like it is, like real raunchy, like. And my grandmother, when I was a kid, used to in the honor me doing comedy, they would say stuff like, how you gonna serve the Lord and the devil too? And it would perplex me to where I just said, you know what, I'm gonna go do my thing. Well, in 2003, I was on my way to Santa Monica Court to pay a ticket, and my grandmother called me out the blue. Well, my grandmother to me was like that financial talk. When she stopped, I stopped. And this, matter of fact, I had a bench warrant I had to take care of because I didn't go into the court. I wanted to hear what my grandmother said. You know? And she died 6 months after this conversation she had. She talked to me for about 2 hours. She said, son, don't you give up on that comedy. She said, the Lord showed me a vision. And then she told me, I want you to clean it up. Now, she had never seen my comedy.
Wow.
I didn't put nothing on YouTube or nothing. She said, I want you to clean it up. God showed me what you were saying and stuff. She said, I want you to clean it up. Say a cuss. If you say a cuss word, let it be once in a mile. But I want you to clean it up. Then she
Mhm.
told me they're going to try to give you drugs to make you stay up. Don't take your drugs. Don't take no drugs that's going to keep you up. Get you plenty of rest. Take a nap before you go up. That's why people sometimes notice that I sit in the corner and tilt my hat and I take a little nap. Nothing to keep me hyped. And she gave me a lot of do's and don'ts. And she
Mhm.
said, I saw you because my biggest thing to everybody wasn't not to be known as the number one stand-up comedian. I always say
Right.
that. But my biggest goal was for a 5 motion picture deal.
Mhm.
And that's what I've been pushing. I'm close and I'm close. They Paramount Universal just came to me about this $250,000 franchise tax, and I'm like, you can't cover that for me if you're gonna give me the budget, you know.
They gonna take it out of your budget.
Yeah, it was exactly that part because I told Mama, I said my movies are going to be a hit, but it's been a step. And when you're doing things independently, people tend to look at other people and say, "Oh, they doing it, why you not?" And it's
Mhm.
sometimes God has timing for other people. It wasn't
Yes.
ready for me to do it 5 or 10 years ago because the heathen that I was going to be 10 times 10 by that. So
Ah! Woo!
God knows what He's working with me, right? Because
Yes, he does.
yeah,
Yes.
I'm a lot slower now in taking care of my stuff than when I was there. I'm very spiritual about my own personal get downs.
Mhm.
Um, Money doesn't make me. I pride myself
Exactly.
on making money, but
Exactly.
I would have been a manipulator and stuff probably more so because I had to come to grips with myself. And as comedians, we sometimes, I've never been jealous over comedians I see on TV that I've
Mhm.
seen in a movie. And you can say to yourself, hey, like just like when I met with Tiffany Haddish, remember Lele,
Mhm.
the tall
Yep.
comedian lady? Well,
Mhm.
Tiffany Haddish was her mentor.
Mhm.
And so Lele, that's how I met Tiffany. Now, I'm not a person who zones on whatever. I'm really proud of her success. I
Mhm.
met her at my apartment over on 4th Street. She came to my apartment with Lele, and we sat at the table and stuff. And next thing you know, I see her in this. I seen her in the commercials with Travelocity, and
Mhm.
then the different movies. Proud of
Yep.
her success. Has nothing to do with me. Sometimes I laugh at Corey Yoakum. I watch his podcast, and Corey Yoakum is just straight cut from to the cloth on it. But
Mhm.
me myself, I would tease Corey Yoakum. I have no fear of teasing or saying whatever. Sometimes it seems like some people are scared because Corey Yoakum comes so raw with it. You know,
Oh.
Every time he talks, though, I feel like he has a now later in his mouth. And it seems like he's searching for the flavor of it. You know what I'm saying? Tony, you ever watch him talk? You think he got an apple now
Just
later?
imagine in the now later.
Yeah, I mean, I've ate a now later, have an apple now later in my mouth, and I'm talking to somebody, and I constantly
Oh
pouring
gosh.
something in it, getting that juice out or whatever. And
Oh, you silly.
you
Oh
know,
my gosh.
and so um is there something you want to share with the world before we get off of here?
Um. Wow. Well, I'm just going to go back to what you were saying about leaving a legacy and all the different things that has happened and God has
Yeah,
covered you and the wisdom that your grandmother had put into you back then, and you still remembering what she said about keeping yourself grounded, and now you're setting yourself up to leave a legacy for your kids, because I'm still in awe with keeping Cynthia and her family in prayer and herself, because
yes.
if we have things in place, Cynthia wouldn't have to be arguing with her job. She could just leave and then be taken care of without worrying about someone else taking care of her. She have everything in place. So I'm gonna definitely keep her in prayer and reach out to her and let her know we're gonna make things happen, because we
And
can't go out like that.
I thank you, Leonie, because it's funny you say that because Cynthia is a single mom with two young sons, which they adorable. We had them on the show one time,
Mhm.
and she's a warrior. Both her parents has passed. Now
Mm.
she's lost two uncles. And I'm a person who wants to be able to help. Like people like
Yes.
Christina Carter. I've seen Christina Carter in. She thinks I don't know. I hope she don't ever think that. I look past her. She's down there in Clarksdale, Mississippi, and I mean I got so upset when I found out Brett Favre and all these people is manipulating the welfare money of Mississippi.
Mm.
It's already a poor state, and at one time they cut off her food stamps and all that, and she actually do have five kids. And situations like this. So I wish that we had positions in place so we can grant these ones, because the type of work that Leone has been getting me involved is that you can be a real entrepreneur without thinking that it's going to be setting you up or you not getting nothing in return.
Right.
Sometimes you got to take the sacrifices. Everyone knows I live in Long Beach, but I be in Kansas City because I have my mother and my sons here, and I've been trying to put us in a house for them, and I'm back and forth. But this class had me in at 11 o'clock at night, to 12, and you can be where if you can't just expect I'm gonna sit here and something comes. You got to sometimes make a sacrifice. You got to make an effort. you
Mhm.
know, if you don't make an effort, then you can't just suspect that opportunity just gonna come to you.
Right.
The word of God says the squeaky wheel gets the oil. That means that it's making sound. You gotta say something. Am I correct? Everybody, you know what I'm saying? I'm
You
very,
said it in layman terms, but yes.
yeah, I'm very spiritual, and I just don't take into, because see, this is why I was gonna say nothing. I'm hard on the black churches because a lot
Yeah.
of times we push the racist card where slavery ended 100 some years. I know some people say mentality, but I look at who we give our money to and what are they doing with the money. Are we
Mhm.
are we building up all these building funds to still get the same ceiling fan? Or are
Mm.
we taking the money to open up a general contractor license so we can hire the carpenters in our church that's unemployed, and we give, because the church can give and hire a contractor.
Mhm.
We can have
Yep.
barbers, a beauty
Yep.
salon.
Mhm.
Am I correct? I'm pretty
Yes.
sure the lady who was a beautician, she really needed to work and stuff. You probably could get her in a chair and you tell her the dues and like, hey, you need to pay this amount, because
Yep.
I've seen some women beauticians and they say, well,
Mhm.
they charged me $150 a day in the chair. But I've
Mhm.
seen them come out with 800 and something dollars, and you didn't have to write no taxes on it.
So, but what are you doing with your money? So
Yeah.
that's what the issue is.
Yes.
So when you, like you said, the churches, we supposed to go, and if we trust the word, pay our 10%. And that
Yeah.
10% could be time with someone. That 10% could be cleaning the church. That
Preach.
10%
Yes.
could be financially. But what are you doing with the 90%? That's
Yes.
what you're supposed to be taking care of. If you don't have anything after, whatever you do, you're not taking care of yourself.
Yeah. But
So it's like,
you know why I blame I blame some of the black churches on with the black community. You know why?
why?
Because if you and I could make money for a year or two without having to
Mhm.
pay taxes, oh, we
Mhm.
killing the game. Am I correct?
Mhm.
With just 2 years. I
Mhm.
don't like seeing something where it says I'm established, the church been established since 1897, and I don't
Mhm.
see no factories built or nothing like that. But I see
No.
people like Creflo, you driving in a nice big old jet, or this one pastor had a gold toilet and stuff like this.
Okay.
You
Now
know,
see, those are the ones that are really messing it up for the common person, because they're calling them hypocrites. They're calling them liars and cheats, and then you get one that confess that I've been having my members pay for my jet. That's not all men and women of God. You know, it's like if we look at that, that's what turns people away from God. And see, that means you put all your trust in man. God said, trust me, not man. So when you trust
Exactly.
man, that's when you mess up.
Now let me
That's
ask you. Yes. Let me ask
Go
you a
ahead.
question, Miss Leon. Not to cut you off. I want to hear what you just said. What's it? You just said 10% of our tithes, because most churches is ran off of tithe and offerings.
Hmm.
So what do you say when they got to $6 billion that they was all got to split? If you was a recognized church, you got to split the $6 billion, no, $7.3 billion, and that was part of the during the pandemic.
Pandemic. All of them didn't get it. Some of them got more than what they needed. Just like some of those people that made fictitious businesses so they can claim money. So all that monies that people were getting, no one can show for it. People went out and bought cars, didn't buy a home, didn't save it. So just think of the churches that applied for it and didn't get it, and think of the people that made fictitious businesses. They even gave their kids jobs so they can collect. So everybody's getting all this money and don't have a place to show for it, and they're back homeless again. They're back in debt. So what are we as people are the church? So
That's
we're
what I'm
the
saying.
people and we're the church. So these people right here got this money and nobody brought it into the church. And some of the churches didn't even qualify for it because they didn't have their 501c3 correct. Their monies wasn't correct. They didn't have a separate account. So it goes with a lot. Being in the administration with my family, and my family owns it. My sister and my brother-in-law have a church. You know, they still work. They work outside of the church. They still have their regular jobs because they're not dependent on the members to take care of their salary. They're like, no, we're gonna still
Yeah.
work.
But see, what I'm saying though is that, let's say, for instance, this insurance company, like who we're
Hmm.
working with now. To my
Right.
understanding, it looks like it was the president is an Asian guy.
Hmm. He's a
Now,
he's Korean.
okay, Korean. Now, what I'm saying is, now what he's offering to people like even myself and help, and I was well, I took some serious notes this past Tuesday, y'all, because this is when they talked about the compensation. I was like, yeah. And but my point is, why isn't it that, see, this is where it started waking me up. I remember seeing some brothers come to church, different church, and they're looking for help, like get a job. Job leads to housing, stuff like that. And the people said, we're gonna pray for you, brother. When I felt like, why isn't it that we have something to open up for them to be able to say, hey, you okay, if we know you're down and out, we're gonna give you this start, we're gonna help you. You can go to here, report here at 8 in the morning because we own this warehouse. See, this is my problem. I seen a big old college church built over by my man, by one of my partner's houses over between man, I'm gonna say, is it Century and Normandy. There's a big mega college, and some of the people that live across the street said they can't get a job. And I'm
Hmm.
saying to myself, how do we help? With why isn't that we don't have factories to open up stuff? Why isn't it that if we could take this and then say if we open the factory and say, okay, we're gonna give you a job here, or we have mortgage companies in the church, we're gonna pay the church. You understand what I'm saying? I look at stuff like that, but we're gonna
Yep.
hold that for another time. Um, Leonie, I just want to say your hair looks very beautiful too. You done whipped it up, boy. Her hair be like, hey, she ain't like them carpenters. She ever have a carpenter work on in her house, and then you go to his house is just as raggedy. I done had a
You
dude
are
cut
silly.
my hair, and his hair was just as nappy. And I'm like, okay, I hope this
Well,
ain't a
that's
sign.
how they're wearing it now. Now it comes nappy now. That's all they do.
Oh yeah, well. Hey, well, I'm telling everybody, this is my birthday weekend. Today is October the 20th. My
Woohoo!
birthday is October the 23rd. Um, I'm grateful for my family, my mother, my kids, and my friends and associates. I even grateful for those who don't like me because,
Exactly.
if you're pleasing everybody, then you're doing something wrong. You know,
Exactly.
when people don't like you, that means you're doing something right. When some people don't like
Yes.
you. Well, you know what, Miss Leone, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for
You
joining in.
always.
Yes, I will be finishing up my class this evening.
Woohoo!
And I know y'all don't understand. That was an accomplishment. They had this one lady, her voice was so soft, it was just making me laugh. She was like, "Hey, everybody, I hope that you don't think I'm really shocked." And her voice was like, she might as well have been singing, "Go to sleep, go to sleep." I said, "But I ever seen," I was like, "Man, your voice was making me just go straight to sleep." Now the lady just passed too, she was like, "Hey," I love when people talk in confidence too. And I was like, okay, I'm in the right arena. And we're gonna get onto that. We're gonna give this show specifically to Leone. If it can get my attention, is this isn't your not every day just knocking at your door, you need insurance. This is something meaningful to yourself personally. No one is making a profit off of you. You're making a profit off of yourself. If
Correct.
I'm wrong about that, stop me, Miss Leone.
Oh, you're right.
You're making a profit for yourself. They ain't I love how the company is based upon, but we're gonna go more into detail. I don't want to speak up on it because I'm still learning. Don't quote me, because any questions you give me, I gotta secretly text Leone because she's teaching me. So, hold questions and everything. And I don't like to do things like, oh, I'm Mr. This and that, and I can help you. I'm gonna work with her on getting the numbers and stuff. And you don't have to go through me. I can be a referral to you. She is the person in the company. I'm just getting in where I fit in, and I'm learning and learning. But I do know to leave a legacy. And I want to be like Kendrick Lamar. I'm gonna laugh all the way to the bank. I'm gonna be going in the bank. Hey, sir, what's going on? Man, nothing.
Oh, exactly.
And I want all my the thing about me is I'm not selfish. I want other people to be laughing in the bank. Let's a group of us just walk in the bank just laughing, hitting each other, get onto your account, getting this out.
Exactly.
All right. Well, God bless you, Leone. God bless everybody watching. If you have any problems, take it to God, because sometimes humans just gonna get on your nerves.
Exactly.
All right.
Speak.
Yeah. So that's what I do. So I can't do it for you, but God can do. So I just always throw up my prayers to you. And if he'll listen to the birds, he'll listen to a thug. And so trust me, because he sure have helped me.
Yes, he has.
All right. So, all right. God bless you, Leone, and your family, and see you next week. Everybody have a blessed weekend and celebrate Roy Anthony's birthday. It's a national holiday, October the 23rd. And stuff. I would think about making appearances at churches and just come in. I'm not even gonna sing spiritual songs. I was gonna come to I'm gonna go to like the City of Refuge and just say zippity doo da zippity yeah. I'm out. Oh wait, hold up. Say it again.
Favorite, text me your Cash App for your birthday. I have a little gift for you.
Oh, y'all heard that? Well, I do Zelle.
That too. Okay,
I'll give you Zelle.
All right.
That way the feds always ask me about my transactions. Zelle and Walmart to Walmart. All right.
Oh, see ya.
Okay. God bless you. I appreciate you.
All right.
All right. God bless everyone.
Hey, is this thing on? Can you hear me? Is anybody out there? Hey, tune in. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie.